Okay, hi everyone. I can't seem to see you all, but there we go. All right, cool. Hi. Awesome. Hi everyone. My name is Anna. I'm a junior at UNC Chapel Hill. I am studying environmental studies and public policy. And so my friend Sylvia is going to join us soon to present with me as well. But today, I think we're talking about universal human rights, which I'm really excited about. And so I'm going to be presenting on Nicaragua, a country in Central America. And then Sylvia will be talking about Turkey, a country in Europe as well. All right, great. So let's see, 1 second. All right. Cool. Okay, cool. So we're going to be talking about universal human rights, like I said. So I would love to hear maybe if you all have talked about this or thought about it a lot or a little bit. So what do you think are the most important human or rights in the U.S.? Does anybody want to come up and share? Or maybe raise your hand. I think, let's see, are y'all? Um, um, hmm. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. I think you all are on mute, so I can't hear anything. Um, uh, sorry, I can't hear you. I think you're still on mute. Um, yeah, there we go. Okay, I can hear you now.
One of the most important human rights is freedom of speech.
You think freedom of speech? All right, great. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else?
Freedom of religion.
Freedom of religion. All right, great. So yeah, anybody else want to share?
I think not being allowed to be tortured or enslaved is a huge human right.
Awesome. All right, great. That's fantastic. Oh, wow. Okay, awesome. All right, let's have maybe two more and then we can move on to another question.
I think the right to vote is the most important right.
The most important, right? Okay, so the right to vote. Nice.
I think right happiness is pretty important. Yeah.
Great. Okay, civil rights. Awesome. So thanks for sharing. Those are all great things and all each individually important, but also important together as well. Do you think that, maybe like the right to religion, the right to speech, the right to vote, different civil rights, do you think that those are, they should be allowed for everyone, or do maybe just people in individual countries deserve those rights? Like, how do you earn those rights? Any thoughts? Do you earn them, or are they just like inherent to you when as a human, you think? Anybody want to share? I know that's kind of a big question, isn't it? But also important to think about. All right, cool. So maybe, yeah, let's do like a hands up, hands down. So, all right, if you think that you have to, are like these rights, like to vote, right to religion, freedom of speech, things like that, are just like you have them as a human, can you raise your hand? If not, that's okay too. Okay, awesome. Well, seems like we have a big majority. Okay, um, maybe, all right, you can put your hands down now. Great. So if you think that you kind of have to earn them, or you maybe have to do something for those rights, raise your hand. Either way is fine. Okay. All right, we have one hand. Cool. All right. Well, I think, there are a lot of different opinions on this subject. It's not, it's not an easy topic. And so then last quick question. Does anybody know when women got the right to vote? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
In 1920.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Good job. Okay, yeah. So we had women's suffrage in 1920. So not too long ago. I mean, that was less than 100 years ago, if you think about it, which is pretty amazing. And the time period of Earth, that's a relatively short period of time. So great. Awesome. All right, so here we go. All right, I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about Nicaragua, okay? And so I spent about 2 months in Nicaragua a few years ago, and while I was there, I got to be part of a group that was really involved in a strong feminist movement in Nicaragua. So where is it? Where is Nicaragua? I know maybe some of you have heard of it, maybe you haven't, but here's a map. And so it's this country right here in Central America. So here we are in North Carolina, and this is Nicaragua. So we're in Central America here, okay? If you've maybe heard of Costa Rica, we have Costa Rica here to the south of it. All right, great. So I want to just give you a brief history. And so the women's movement really started in the Sandinista Revolution. So in about the 1978, 1979. So the Sandinista Revolution in Nicaragua was an attempt to overthrow the Somoza dictatorship. And so the women's movement originally started out as the Asociación de Mujeres Nicaragüenses Luisa Amanda Espesina. So that is the Association of Nicaraguan Women, Luisa Amanda Espinosa. And so Luisa Amanda, she was one of the first women to die in this movement. And so it was named after her. And so women played a huge part in the Sandinista Revolution. There were 67% of women in the militia, and 80% were guards. So this is about 50,000 women, which is absolutely amazing. Because women, prior to this revolution, had very domesticated roles. In no way would they have been allowed to serve in the military. They were not, thought of as guerrilla fighters. And so this was a really amazing thing because it was challenging the roles that they had been given, those domestic roles of mothers and caregivers. And they were seen as much stronger, and they were fighting for their rights. Whether that be to education, to be in the workplace, to be respected, to have those same rights as their male counterparts. And so this led to some changes in legislation in education and work opportunities, which is really cool. You can see this picture of a few women in the movement. And so just to give you an idea of what, kind of visualize. And so what's happening now, right? So in Nicaragua, the women's movement is one of the most progressive in Latin America, which is absolutely amazing. So these things are all grassroots movements, meaning that they are starting from the people. If we think of grass, it's like at the very bottom of the food chain, right? And we're building up and up, which is really cool. And so, women are starting these movements because they care and they want their rights and they are demanding them. Something seen as very progressive was Law 779, the Comprehensive Law Against Violence Towards Women. So this came about in June of 2012, so just 4 years ago, and it makes violence against women illegal. However, it is a very controversial law. So it's argued against by mainly men and conservatives because they say it will break up families. So essentially, women are allowed to go tell someone that they are not, that maybe their husband is, committing violence against them or abusing them. And so there's a penalty. However, there were a few reforms in the law, saying that you could go for mediation for crimes with penalties of less than 5 years. So any crime that would result in prison for less than 5 years is light physical injuries, psychological violence, sexual harassment, and assault. So for that, you can go get mediation, try to work it out. But if we look at the crimes that surpass the 5-year penalty, that's grave infliction of physical injuries and femicide. So this is it's voluntary, but many women feel as if it hurt the original intention because they feel like if you go for mediation, it really won't help or will not protect you, which is really unfortunate. So are women really better off, right? We have these great grassroots movements going on right now, starting off from the Sandinista Revolution. But however, femicide, which is any kind of domestic violence that ends in death, rape that ends in murder, honor killings, or murder where the victim's gender is a factor in death. Femicide rates are very high in Latin America and Central America. And so we're looking at these rising femicide rates, and you ask yourself why. We have all these great things going on, but it's still very prominent. Women are just murdered essentially for being women, and because they don't have the same rights that males do. They're not protected in the same ways. Also, Nicaragua has one of the highest adolescent birth rates in Latin America. So essentially 1 in every 4 births is to a girl 15 to 19 years old, which it really isn't much older than you and is not much younger than me. And so we still have, the second highest rate in Central America. And even to top that off, in 2006, there was a total ban on abortions. And so if we think about a Supreme Court case, Roe versus Wade, the right to a woman's choice, if you've heard pro-life or pro-choice arguments, a lot of this stems from Roe versus Wade. And that was in 1973 that women in America, the U.S., earned the right to choice. And so then in 2006, you see in Nicaragua, we have a total ban on abortions. And so this is very controversial, and a lot of people, and it hurts women's rights in so many different ways. So, if we have all the, it seems like we have a good thing going on, but there are a lot of forces acting against women as well. But, what are women fighting for? And it's gender equity, reproductive rights, economic rights, access to justice for abuse, so domestic abuse, violence, and then also LGBTQ rights. And so while I was in Nicaragua, I was able to participate in a few of these movements and get to know women who were fighting for all of these things and are very proactive within Nicaragua, within their communities, for speaking up for women's rights. So I just wanted to show you a few pictures as well. This is me in the middle, and this is my host sister, Luciana, and she is from Nicaragua and has worked very hard in her city's own feminist movement, and also in other cities in Nicaragua. And this is our friend Asiri, and she is from Brazil. And so these women here, I got to interact with them. They are with an organization called La Casa de los Colores in Leon, which is a feminist group and also LGBTQ rights group. And so I got to know some of these amazing women, and this is a protest and a march in order to ask for rights. And then also, this is my host sister, Luciana, again. And this is a march in order to promote awareness about femicide. And because, just because you're a woman does not mean that somebody has the right to abuse you or even murder you or rape you. And so there have been so many femicides that women are speaking out. They're saying we are also this girl who has passed away and died because of these things. And so standing in solidarity is really important. And it's been, I get to see my host sister involved in these things, and it's a very real movement and very alive. And so I just like am in shock and amazed by how strong and powerful these women are, and especially how difficult it can be for them to speak out. So that's Nicaragua, and I think we have Sylvia here to talk to you a little bit about Turkey. And also, sorry. So I'm really curious to hear, your thoughts. So I have a few questions, just maybe like hands up or hands down again. So first of all, were any of you all maybe aware that there was this big feminist movement in Nicaragua or Central America? Have you ever heard of that? Like hands up if you have. No? Maybe one. Okay, yeah. So not many people have heard of this. Did it surprise you about that women suffer from high rates of femicide, or did it just surprise you about the age where women are having birth? Did that surprise you? Hands up if it did. Okay, yeah, that was really surprising. Cool. What about? I'm just a little curious. What about if you think that, sorry. What do you think about the law 779? Can you raise your hand if you think that there should be try to be some mediation between the abuser and the woman? Do you think that there should be that? Hands up if you do. Yeah, it's okay if you think that. That's totally fine. Like, I'm just curious. I think these are all really good things to discuss because this is not an easy issue, right? Like, abuse is never an easy issue to talk about. It's always difficult, and each situation is different. But at the same time, like, we do have to protect women, and a lot of women do not have the same rights that we do in the U.S. So that's just kind of my main point. And I hope y'all can talk about this and that you found it a little bit interesting.